Welcome back to the Coco Convo Corner. I am your host, Courtney. I also go by Coco in some instances. And this is just a recalling, a digital footprint, a podcast where I talk about things that are on my mind, as well as things that are on the minds of special guest hosts or maybe friends that I've talked with. And I'm like, hey, let's have a Coco Convo Corner about this. So yeah, these will be, some of them will be short excerpts, some of them will be, 3 minutes, an hour long. Um, but I've really been going over, discussing with myself and with God, my brain activity, what it means to leave behind like a legacy or digital footprint and what that looks like. If that looks like recording daily journals and diaries, if that looks like um feeling like I have a message that I want to share with everyone, if that looks like recreating my DNA with somebody. And there are different ways to perceive like legacy and what you're leaving behind and what you're doing, if you're doing anything to make sure that you're remembered, or you're not someone's final thought and then you're never thought of again or looked at again, yada yada yada. So I've done several different projects like this before, in regards to the basis being, what am I leaving behind, or am I being helpful, am I being truthful and honest. And I didn't expect this to be a description, but like I said, just natural flow of things. Yeah, I want to leave behind a digital footprint where if someone wants to like hear my voice or hear my message, whether it has a positive effect on one person or a negative effect on two, it just gets the conversation going and gets people thinking. I'm like, that's what I want to do. And if that ends up being 2 or 3 episodes or 2 or 300 episodes, then that's just what it is. So here we are. Um, today's topic, loose topic, is basically um, messages. Like, are we getting the messages? To give you a little prologue, I was scrolling on Instagram, as some of you may or may not know. I'd done like a couple of Instagram fasts where I was like, let me just, uninstall it. And in the beginning, it was hard because go through my apps, like, where's Instagram? And I'm like, oh yeah, uninstalled it. Okay, where else can I devote my time? And I found myself progressively, I'd wake up, I'll say my prayers, I'll give my thanks, and then I like reach for my phone. I'm like, oh no, I don't have Instagram. What else can I do? So I'm like working on my business. I'm getting ahead with work. I'm cleaning up my living space and my environment. I'm reaching out to people that I'm like, I've been thinking about you and I haven't reached out to you. Let me do this. I'm like, because you do make time for the things you make time for and the things you want to do. So I'm like, let me, you know, make time to do this. Like this distraction that I had, not that it was necessarily a negative distraction, but Instagram can take up so much time, like scrolling, liking, reading comments, going back to back, especially when we think, oh, we're going through these short spurt videos. But I also don't know if you all have noticed, like those videos have gone from 15 seconds to 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So it's not as um, microwave popcorn as it used to be. So you can really get stuck in receiving so many different messages in such a short amount of time, and it can really be brain overload. So this morning I was scrolling through Instagram, of course, and my algorithm has historically been very like relationship focused, as well as self improvement focused, as well as finance inquiry focused. And I can honestly say that's reflective of my life. Like I've been trying to learn more about myself and moving within myself, respecting myself, as well as learning how can I make my money make more money for me? How can I do less work, involve more automation for my business? Um, and the last one, relationships, trying to navigate, okay, am I being, not that I'm not in a relationship, but in regards to when I was in a relationship and even after that relationship or those relationships were done, just navigating, okay, what could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? Is there anything that I could have worked on? Just being reflective in everything in that nature. And so the message this morning Was a guy. It was one of those, like, guys one of the guys trying to relate to the guys. He's like, "Guys, y'all really do need to listen to women. Like, if she's giving her opinion or you're seeking her opinion and you either disregard her or you dismiss her or you don't, take into what she's saying, take into account what she's saying as a serious matter or a helpful matter, or even just, being thankful that she has an opinion," then he was like, you don't care for her opinion. You don't care for her words. You're going to continue to do what you want to do. And, after a while, either she's going to stop giving her opinion or you're going to see her as someone you can't get an opinion from, and then disinterest and, all down here from there, crash, boom, bam. And so I listened to him, and while I was listening to him, I was like, "Why am I listening to this?" And not necessarily because I'm not the intended art audience, because I feel like people who don't identify a certain way can learn from other people who identify different ways, right? Like, I can listen to this, and even though the message is for men, I could be like, "Yeah, I agree with that," or "Maybe I don't agree with that," or some parts, da 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 da, right? As I'm listening to it, I was like, I just had this thought. I'm like, are people still not getting it? Like, are people not getting the messages? Are people still needing to hear the same types of messages from different people over and over and over and over and over again and still not getting it? Like, that was the thought that came to me. And I'm like, is that why my algorithm keeps showing me the same stuff? Because I get it. Even like I said, I was listening to the excerpt and I was like, I don't need to be listening to this. Like, but I did have the thought. I'm like, are people in my age range, are people in my experience range just not getting it? Are they not getting, like, just be a good person? Are they not getting be a kind person? Are they not understanding be considerate? Are they not understanding, like, it's very, I was kind of taken aback because I'm like, these are the same messages, but it's just new faces exploring these messages. And maybe there's an one extra added point here and there, but otherwise it's the same regurgitation of information. It's like it's just kind of baffling me, y'all. I'm just like, are we really not getting it? Are we really not getting, like, men and women be considerate? Okay, let's even narrow it down to this relationship thing, right? It's like, are we not getting, like, show up for your partner? Are we not getting, like, be considerate, be mindful, be thoughtful? Are we not understanding, like, oh, that's just, let me not use that one. That one might be a little too specific of an example. And I don't want anyone to hear this and feel like I'm targeting them. I'm talking about all my relationships. Okay, so there we go. I'll just cover this a canvas for all my past relationships, where it's just like, you, not saying that this has happened in all my relationships, but I'm just saying so no one feels like I'm targeting them. But it's just like, when I see this, for example, when I look at and I see the stories and the clips or the podcasts about, like, one of the traditional woman and a traditional man, and it's like, I'm expecting my woman to come home, cook, clean, all this other good stuff, but also, like, also she needs to be contributing because I ain't trying to marry no gold digger. Like, what? You want this other human to go work a full minimum 8-hour day and then come home and play mother to you? That's wild to me. It's wild to me because I'm like, if you did not have this partner, who would be doing the work? It would be you, right? It would be you, right? Because nobody's going to do the work for you. These are human things. Washing the dishes, doing the laundry, taking out trash. These are human things. So it's just like, why would you expect a woman to come in and then do these things that you should have been doing as a human man who is living alone? It's just kind of wild to me. Um, and the flip side of that would also be, I guess, what you would consider to be a non-traditional woman, right? It's like, for me specifically, I'm not expecting to get in a relationship and then my partner just starts paying everything that I've already been paying. Now, if that's something that we agree to or something we talk about finances wise, blah 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 blah, okay, but I'm I think it would be irresponsible for me to think, oh, now that I have a boyfriend, like, I don't have to pay anything. Like, I think that would be irresponsible and kind of wild to think that. But then again, I'm not a traditional, I guess, by the book woman. I feel like I'm deviating from my original point, but that's okay because this is the Coco Convo Corner. So we can, ebb and flow and zoom and zap and zip whichever way we want to go. I believe the point that I'm trying to make or get to is that you have all the information you need. You know how you want to be treated. You know how you should be treating your specific partner. If you've gotten to know them by now, you know what they like and what they don't like. You know what you like and what you don't like. Um, if you need to work on communication, then you know you need to work on that. Like, oh, why doesn't she understand, or why doesn't he understand what I'm trying to say, or what I'm saying, or the fact that I haven't said anything? Because maybe you're not communicating in a way where they understand it, or maybe you haven't conveyed that exactly. I don't know what they want me to do. Da, 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 da. If y'all don't get off y'all lazy asses and use Google and stop relying on your partner to give you the answer to all of life's F word questions, that is extra mental load. And I feel like that's a conversation for a whole nother episode. But mental load is so freaking real. And when I say in all my relationships, I have had mental load placed on me, and it is heavy. It's like not only do I have my own work to do, corporate work, I have my own business work to do. I have my own showing up for friends and family work to do. I have my own self improvement work to do, whether that's like reading books or not. I have my own de-stressing to do, whether that's getting on the game or going on a walk. I'm a dog mom. I have all this stuff to do already. All this stuff physically and mentally and emotionally weighing on me. And instead of you stepping up and doing what you need to do or using the same resources we both have access to, you rely on me. You rely on me for answers. You rely on me for guidance. You rely on me for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if I either don't give you an answer or don't give you a response that you want or respond in the way in which you want it, then it becomes an issue. It's not a self-reflective thing like, damn, I am like, ask her something I can figure out myself, or I am bringing up something that, she told me about a couple weeks ago. Da, da, da. There's no self-reflection. It's just automatic reaction. And one of my ongoing like thoughts or mantras, which I've had for like decades at this point, like two at least, has been people tend to look at the reaction and not the original action. I can say that for me a lot. People be like, "Oh, you coming kind of hard," or "You da da da," and I'm like, "Okay, but what caused me to do that?" Because you're looking at my reaction, not the initial action. Backtrack to the initial action, review that, then get back to me. Tangent on tangent on tangent. I'm going to conclude this with y'all have heard enough information. You have. You know how to be a better partner. You know how to be a better son or daughter. You know how to be a better family member. You know how to be a better friend. You know this stuff. You're choosing not to. So let's not act clueless. That's my whole thing. Let's not act clueless. Let's not act like we don't know what's going on. Let's not act like, well, I wasn't aware or I had no idea. Let's stop the cap, as the kids say. Stop the act, stop the cap, as the kids say. You know. You know if you should be buying your ladies flowers more regularly. You know if you should be visiting more often. You know if you should be calling your mom or your dad or your people more often. You know that, dang, I haven't seen my girl eat all day all week, or she's always running around. Let me get her something. Man, I haven't seen my man ABCDEFG. Let me try to contribute. Let me try to like ease the load. Let me show my support in a way. Oh, I don't know how to really show support. My girl don't like flowers and she don't like me getting lunch for her. Google, what are some ways I can support my man or support my lady? Oh man, I'm not sure about this psychobabble. We just like to do our own thing, and even though that hasn't been working, we still just like to do our own thing. Google, what are some non-religious based ways I can show my appreciation and support someone that I care about? Y'all make things so hard for no reason sometimes. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be this way. Does it have to be this way? I went on a rant a couple weeks ago, and I still get feedback from it, so I think it's funny, and I'll bring it up now. But, the rant was saying if he wanted to, he would, and I was exploring that whole, euphemism. Um, but it applies to all humans, right? Like, if they wanted to, they would. If you don't have the resources for something, you would find out a way to get more resources and then go from there. If you don't have the money for something, you will find out a way to get more money and go from there. If you don't have certain information, then you research the information to get information and go from there. And it's just like, I'm cool with, people needing help and people needing guidance. Um, I'm not cool with people taking advantage other people who have also needed help and needed guidance and say, you know what, let me figure this out. You know what, let me do this. Let me ABCDEFG. It's like you want to benefit from the answers and the work of other people, but not put any in yourself. Had an ex a while back who would kind of like do that. And mind you, he was smart, like super smart. He would just ask me the questions. And at one point I found myself on the phone Googling while he was asking me a question. And I was like, hold up. What am I doing? You have access to Google just like I do. We are both on the phone. He's like, well, I know that you know, or you'd be more likely to know. So I just asked you. And I was like, no, we're not doing that anymore. No, just being like, oh, she might know. Let me give her a call. You're calling me on the same phone you can use to Google your answer. If this ain't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you're not using a lifeline, stop it. Yeah. I think that's all I have for y'all on today's episode of the Coco Convo Corner. Um, just to recap and reiterate, if you want to do something, you'll do it. If you want to figure something out, you will figure it out to the best of your ability. Even if that figure out means, okay, I've learned everything I can. Let me send this to a third party or get a third party involved to help me. That is also a way of figuring it out. Trying to figure something out and saying, yeah, I can't figure this out. Let me get a third party help. Let me pay for the convenience, whatever that might look like. That is a way of figuring it out. And three, the messages. We get the messages, y'all. We keep ignoring these messages, whether it's like these podcast shorts on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or if it's God Himself sending you a message. If you're choosing to ignore that message and choosing to fulfill your purpose the way you best see fit instead of what you know you should be doing, then the outcome is all on you. Outcome is all on you. Again, today's message is that we get the messages. You get the messages. You know what you should and should not be doing. Like, stop playing with life and stop playing with yourself.